Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin this lesson by giving all praises, glory, and honor, which is due unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders, a great most honorable well, and Shalom to the Lord's elect. Starting with 144,000, Shalom. And yeah, just wanted to do a little quick lesson on time. And the inspiration was I was watching a video, a response video that the elder Yashwamba did on the time moving quick. Okay, which I'll get that scripture. In fact, maybe I'll get that scripture first. Let's go to Mark 13 and bear with me. Right, this is Mark chapter 13 verse 20. It says, "And except that the Lord had shortened those days, no flesh should be saved, but for the elect's sake, whom he hath chosen, he hath shortened the days." Okay, and pretty much, the video that Elder Ashram was going into, he was talking about how even people in the world are noticing that things are speeding up and how we must adapt, and I was meditating on it. Now, there's a Turkish proverb, okay, and the proverb is, I'm going to say it in the Turkish and then I'll translate what it is and what it means. Acele işe Seytan Karisir. And pretty much what it means is a work that's done in haste, Satan will be involved. And the reason I'm saying that proverb is because we have to take care in the things that we do, how we do them, when it comes to this ministry and when it comes to this walk in this truth, and make use of this time, because the time that we're in at the moment is we're at the very last days, and now is the time to work, right? John the 9th chapter and the 4th verse, it says, "I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work." Now in the kingdom, we're not going to be doing this. The time to put in the work, to time, okay, to do everything you can before the finish line is now, and I've been meditating on that myself, thinking about, praying to the Lord and thinking about my output in this ministry, and making sure that, because there's been times where my output has lacked, has dropped, and you got to do, whatever you can to bring that back up, through prayer, through study, and time management is one of them. Okay, like I've just started a new job, and I got to make sure that I'm thinking about it and I'm managing my time effectively. Okay, around that job and around different changes, because we're always going to go through different changes in this walk. Okay, but the one thing that has to stay constant is the work. We've been called to this ministry. A ministry is what? To minister means to serve. So we got to serve. There's no breaks. Okay, there's no retiring. Okay, once you get called to this ministry, that's it. You got to go all guns blazing, be on fire, and the Lord expects nothing less. So part of that is time management. Now, if the time is speeding up, that's another thing to take into consideration and adapt. And you can see that when my observation, even going back to COVID, brothers were all reason on that. The time things are just moving quick. Everything is so much happening. Even in the prophecies, there's so much popping off. There's so much to talk about. Okay. So now is the time. Now is the time to get it in. And I'll get this quickly in Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. It says, it's Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Okay, so there's a time for everything. Now, Ephesians the 5th chapter, the 5th chapter, the 5th chapter. Ephesians the 5th chapter. Okay, and going back to that proverb, yes, the times are moving quickly, but the way we got to move is with care. Okay. One of the everything's got to be in balance. Like, for example, I was thinking about this at work actually. When you are moving too hastily and you're moving frantically, without purpose, without understanding, you start making mistakes because you're overloading yourself. Okay, and when you make a mistake, that sets you back. Okay. Like, for example, if you're on a production line and you need to start churning out things, the best way to do it is to do it to a rhythm. Don't rush it. Don't be lazy about it. Just find a good rhythm. And just through that rhythm of just doing something constantly, okay, you're going to have great output. So it's about finding that rhythm, finding that flow. And you're going to get things in this truth that are going to try and throw you off balance. Okay? Different changes, circumstances, hardships, whether you might find yourself homeless for a bit, you got to sleep on the sofa at a brother's house or something or whatever. Or you got a certain situation with your family life and that's just suddenly being destabilized. Okay. You're getting too much, things going on at work, you're getting help from work, or there's changes in work, changes in your time, your hours. We always got to be meditating and adapting to our situation. Okay. Now this is Ecclesiastes, man. This is Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15. And I'm going to read this in NLT. So be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Now in the KJV it says redeeming the time because the days are evil, right? So let's go into interlinear. The word redeeming there. To redeem by payment of a price, to recover from the power of another, to ransom or buy off. Right? Let's go to the second one. To buy up for oneself, for one's use, to make wise and sacred use of every opportunity for doing good, so that zeal and well-doing are as it were the purchase money by which we make the time our own. Now, one of the things that we're doing, pursuant to Matthew the 6th chapter, is we're laying up treasures in heaven. Okay, so this is a work, all right? And, so the output has to be there, okay? But at the same time, like brothers always say, quality over quantity, right? You also want to make sure that edification is coming out, okay? And you also want to make sure that you're managing your time effectively so that it can come out. All right. Now, I believe there was another scripture. Bear with me. That could be. You know what I'll do instead is I'm gonna go to the Psalms chapter 90, and the elder brought this out in his video. Or what I can do is I can type in big times. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not coming up. Was it worded differently? That's okay. That's okay. Well, hey, I'm gonna go back to what I had in Oh, actually, what I'll do is I'll get this in a Sirach. Let's get Sirach chapter 2. Right, Sirach chapter 2 verse 2, it says, "Set thy heart aright and constantly endure." Endure means to make hard. Okay, so set thy heart aright. Beyond the, you gotta get your mind right, and make not haste in time of trouble. Okay, basically, don't tuck tail and run, man. Don't get, don't lose your shit. The Lord said what? He speaks about patience. Patience goes into what? Suffering. Okay, and the Lord also spoke about, along with patience, he said, "Be still." Let's see if that's in yeah, this is Psalms 46 verse 10. "Be still and know that I am Yahweh Shai Shai. I will be exalted among the heathen. I'll be exalted in the earth." Okay, so you know that's when you're managing things properly and everything's running it's with rhythm. You're gonna have good works that are gonna come out of that. Okay, and like I said, in this truth, you're gonna have things that are gonna try and make you stumble. Oh, hey, when you're running a race, when you get that rhythm and everything's running, and you got the hurdles coming up, and you got that right rhythm, you're gonna be jumping over those hurdles smooth. Okay, but as we know, sometimes you're gonna get certain things that are gonna try and knock you off, certain stumbling blocks. Okay, but you don't want to be taken out of the race. What you want to do is you want to just, even if you stumble a little bit, you got to recuperate that quick and keep going until you get to that finish line, man. And we ain't at that finish line until Yahweh Shai comes back and beams us up. So until that time, okay, when we're good, we've done what we had to do, we did the work. Hey, we're still in this walk, we're in this straight gate. So things have got to be managed accordingly. And one of the things that needs to be managed is our time, not super indulging too much in scripture talk about the affairs of this life. Okay, obviously you got to take care of what you got to do. Even that, when you're taking care of things, to plan that out accordingly. And I'm speaking, this is something I've been meditating on myself, how to better myself in this truth, and how to manage my time better. Okay, so hey, just something I was meditating on after watching the elder's video, and something to meditate on. And Lord, and this has been an edifying lesson in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai Makakadash. And with that, I'm going to say shalom. Shalom to the Lord's elect.